Glad you're back. Very good to see you. Hey, we're still, if you want to be following along with your science books, pages 18 to 25, the first few pages, 18, 19, 20, we talked all about vertebrates. And if you remember what makes a vertebrate is that it has a backbone, right? We talked about all those different things. We're going to review them quickly today. The birds and the mammals and the reptiles, amphibians, fish, all have backbones. Now, a fish is not a bird and a bird is not a reptile, but they do have something in common. They can be compared because they are all animals. They all have backbones, vertebrates. Today we're going to learn about invertebrates, animals without a backbone at all. It's crazy to think about it, and they're probably ones, or I should say animals, that we really don't know a whole lot about. But so we're going to focus on today. I know I said we're going to talk about invertebrates. I want to really quickly review the vertebrates, and I'll be honest, I'm going to kind of fly through these because we went through them in better detail yesterday. But again, these are all animals with backbones, vertebrates. We have fish. We had amphibians that we talked about, good old frogs and such, reptiles, right? We had lizards and turtles and crocodiles. Birds with feathers and lay eggs, huh? Mammals, you, me, the mouse, puppy, all mammals. Remember this is what we talked about. Simply put, a vertebrate is an animal with a backbone. Yes, we are vertebrates. An invertebrate does not have a backbone. I remember showing you this slide yesterday too. Vertebrates, the more common animals, are the animals that we're around. Not that we're around crocodiles and stuff, but the cows, the horses, the birds, the fish, the dogs, the cats, animals that we all grew up imitating their sounds from when we were in diapers going on. And now we're going to talk about invertebrates. These are not the same animals at all, but they do have something in common. They can be compared. I'm purposely using these compare and contrast words because your assignment's going to be another Venn diagram. But these can be compared, at least, that they are all invertebrates. None of them have a backbone. These are all animals, again, without backbones, invertebrates. And the first group that scientists classify as invertebrates are called arthropods. I'm actually going to go down the second point here. Animals with jointed legs. That's actually what arthropod means. Pod means leg or foot, and arthro means jointed legs. If you ever walk like a crab, you kind of walk with the jointed legs there, right? With that, that's just how they are. Crabs are like that. Spiders, these are the most famous types of arthropods. Now, again, a spider is not a crab is not a spider, but they both do have things in common. They have the jointed legs, and they have invertebrates, which means no backbone. Sorry, I'm skipping around so much here, but going down to the third one here, covered with an exoskeleton. Now, I hope you've always gone to get uncle or daddy if there's a spider or something there so they can kill it because they're nasty and disgusting. But if you ever crush like a beetle, and you sometimes hear that crunch when they're crushed, that's the exoskeleton. It's not bones. It's not a skeleton like you and I have. It's almost like if you remember back in the times of the castles and the kings and queens, and you had the knights in shining armor, right? Well, that shining armor is almost like an exoskeleton. It's that protection they had over their head, and the whole outfit of walking around in armor. That's like an exoskeleton, a kind of protection on the outside. Well, for an animal, it's not just outside their body, it is the outside part of their body. That's what they're covered in. If you've ever been around a crab, they have a really hard shell type thing. I shouldn't call it a shell because it's not. It's really an exoskeleton. Same with spiders, same with other things. I'm sure you don't like seeing this picture because there's a lot of creepy crawly things and things we don't like to talk about or see, but these are all arthropods. From a scorpion to a spider to a crab. If you notice, what do they all have in common? Number one, no backbone. Number 2, all jointed legs, right? Every single discussing one of them have the jointed legs. Let's move on here. Again, I think, like I said yesterday, I don't think if you'd ask 100 people, I don't think a single one of them would have their favorite animal be an invertebrate. But maybe. I'll be honest, guys, I don't have a whole lot of information about sponges and sea stars, but believe it or not, this in the ocean is called a sponge, and it is alive. That is an animal. They eat and all that type of stuff. They're made up of cells. And same with the sea star. It just looks like literally a star sitting on the ocean floor, but it's alive. It's an animal. It moves. And it eats. Maybe never ever in your entire lives come across a sponge or a sea star, and you might be better for it, but they are types of invertebrates. Worms. The early bird gets the worm, right? They are invertebrates. They have segmented bodies. All these little lines in here is a different segment of their body, and might need them to go fishing. But they're invertebrates. If you ever kind of twist them, if you're going fishing to get them on the hook, no bones, no backbone, right? Invertebrates. This is the last type of invertebrate we're going to go through, and maybe one you've never heard of. And man, they vary in size so greatly, but they're all called mollusks. Now, mollusks, as I wrote down here, can be incredibly small. I'm talking like a snail that you might not even see if you walk over, and some can be incredibly large. I mean, take a look at this. This is a full-grown man here, and he's standing next to this giant squid that washed up on the ocean, on the beach there. And I mean, look how long that is. If this guy would lay down, I mean, it's like, 50 feet tall. That squid is. It's just massive. So you might say, well, what in the world? Why did scientists classify these together? They all have different things in common, just like a small bird and a big bird have different things in common. All the mollusks are invertebrates, right? Some live in the ocean, some live on land, but some mollusks, like oysters, like I put, rarely move. Some are incredibly fast. I'm sure you've never seen an octopus, but if you've ever seen a documentary on them, I mean, they're incredible animals that God made. Incredibly fast. I think I have a picture here of some more famous mollusks. They don't look very similar, but all are mollusks, and all of them do not have a backbone, which makes them invertebrates. Your assignment here, guys, is kind of taking the last two science lessons together, and you need to fill out a Venn diagram of vertebrates and invertebrates. Now, I think one thing you can probably tell, I'm kind of hoping that is in every one of your Venn diagrams. Sorry, real quickly, remember that there should be 2 points in each section, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, so 6 things total. Is one thing that's very contrasted or different is that vertebrates have a backbone, invertebrates don't have a backbone. I'm interested to see your answers here. Do this, please, on your paper packet. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Have a very wonderful rest of the day.